Deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis sparks outrage and protest. On January 7, 2026, a tragic incident unfolded in Minneapolis that would ignite outrage and protests across the city. A 37-year-old woman, identified as Renee Nicole Good, was fatally shot by a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) agent during a significant federal immigration enforcement operation. This event not only drew condemnation from local leaders and residents, but also raised serious questions about the tactics employed by federal agents in urban communities. The shooting occurred in South Minneapolis, specifically near East 34th Street and Portland Avenue, where ICE officers were engaged in what the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, described as targeted operations. These operations were part of a broader crackdown involving hundreds of federal agents. According to DHS, the confrontation began when Good's vehicle allegedly became involved in a standoff with officers, leading to an ICE agent firing his weapon and killing her. Federal officials, including DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, characterized the shooting as an act of self-defense, claiming that Good had weaponized her vehicle in an attempt to strike the officers. However, family members and eyewitnesses offered a starkly different narrative. They disputed the federal account, asserting that Good was not engaged in any violent behavior at the time of the incident. Eyewitnesses described a chaotic scene, with video footage circulating online showing officers approaching Good's SUV and at least one agent firing multiple shots as the vehicle moved. Some witnesses claimed that Good was merely trying to leave the area when she was shot, raising further concerns about the justification for the use of lethal force. The immediate aftermath of the shooting was marked by anger and protests in Minneapolis. Hundreds of residents gathered at the site of the incident, holding vigils and chanting against ICE's presence in the city. Tensions escalated as demonstrators clashed with law enforcement, leading to reports of pepperball rounds being used to disperse crowds and intense verbal exchanges between residents and officers. The community's response underscored a deep-seated frustration with federal immigration enforcement practices, particularly in residential neighborhoods far removed from the U.S. borders. Local leaders, including Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, publicly condemned the federal response to the incident. Frey challenged the self-defense narrative put forth by federal officials, demanding that ICE cease its operations in Minneapolis. He accused the agency of creating chaos within the community and emphasized that the city does not want federal immigration agents operating in its neighborhoods. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz also weighed in, urging calm while emphasizing the need for accountability and calling for peaceful demonstrations as more details about the incident emerged. The shooting occurred amid one of the largest DHS immigration enforcement operations in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area in recent memory. Over 2,000 officers were deployed under the Trump administration, with officials linking the operation to alleged fraud cases and enforcement priorities. Supporters of such federal actions argue that they are necessary to uphold immigration laws, while opponents contend that the approach is heavy-handed and poses risks to civilians. In the wake of the shooting, both local and federal law enforcement agencies, including the FBI and the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, launched investigations into the incident. Questions linger regarding the sequence of events, the conduct of the officer involved, and the provision of medical aid following the shooting. As of now, authorities have not released extensive body camera or video footage, and the identity of the ICE agent who fired the shots remains undisclosed. Community activists and elected officials are calling for full transparency and accountability as the investigation unfolds, highlighting the urgent need for a thorough examination of the circumstances surrounding this tragic event. The shooting of Renee Nicole Good has not only sparked outrage but has also reignited the debate over immigration enforcement practices in the United States, particularly in urban areas. As the community grapples with the loss of a mother and resident, the call for justice and accountability continues to resonate throughout Minneapolis and beyond.